Welcome to the Manifest, Enlightenment, and Soar show. Good afternoon, Commissioner and Mayor of Manatee County, Mr. Gene Brown. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sitting down with me, to sit with me today. I'm a small business, Reiki master, tennis coach, local author, and entrepreneurial philanthropic soul who wants to help world peace. And today, tomorrow, or in this lifetime somehow. My mom is an actress, Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway. My father owned many restaurants in the Village in the Lower Manhattan. And so I've become creative, and I'm writing a short film in 2024, and also writing a song to come out as well. So those are some of my projects. We both love baseball. You've coached quite a bit. I've played independent league baseball in my 20s in Fort Lauderdale. I wished you coached me back then. I would have had a shot. I would have had a chance. Welcome to the Manifest, Enlightenment, and Soar show. What's your favorite experience as a coach?
Well, I think one of the things to me, it's about children, kids, what you can do.
Yeah.
When I was 8 years old, I started at our boys club here in Manatee County.
Yeah.
And we obviously had a lot of sports teams that I started on, and then my mentors there, some of the people that coached you, John Hale, Carl Weeks, all the people that were at the club at that time,
Nice.
kind of taught me. And obviously, as we went through that, I actually started coaching a basketball team at 12,
Wow.
the younger kids, and just kind of, I was always the go-getter trying to do that. But coaching the kids and doing that and seeing, how you can make an impact, a positive impact,
Sure.
kind of stayed with me.
That's
And then
so
as I went through high school and played sports,
Yeah.
and then as I, got out of college and started helping at Manatee High School doing things, and then obviously had kids, and then really jumped in. And one of the most important things to me is what you can show kids, what they can do, how they can be a positive impact.
Yes.
And then also coaching my own kids, really helped from the standpoint of holding accountability.
Sure.
And one of the things I learned early on in coaching is you can coach anybody's kids, but when
Right.
you coach your own, you got to make them want to be there with you.
Right.
And, not carry it off the field.
Right.
So respect was important to me,
Yeah.
but also, when the game was over, is being their dad.
Yeah. Wonderful. That's beautiful, Mr. Mayor. What was your favorite moment as a mayor?
So far in the 2.5 years, obviously, is the collaboration that we've created in our county.
Wonderful.
We had a meeting on Monday with the school district, the county commissioners, and the city council, and that was the first time that I think that's ever happened as those three groups. But it was to work together and talk about what we can do as in collaboration with the three groups. We all have our own missions
Sure.
in the different districts and the way things are done, but it's also been helping that common mission of homelessness,
Yes.
of changing things in our community,
Yes.
that we can work together.
Yes.
As we know, individually we can do a lot, but collaboratively we can do
More.
even more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I would like to recognize the youth. I've volunteered at the Boys and Girls Club many times before, helping kids out with speeches. I've given a perception speech to the Boys and Girls Club. I know you're familiar with them. What was your affiliation with them? I know you were on the board.
Right, I'm on the board now, but when I was 8 years old, I walked into that Boys and Girls Club on 34th Street here in
Nice.
Bradenton.
Yes, sir.
And what ended up transforming, we all have family dynamics when you're a kid, when you grow up, but
Yeah.
being in that club forced me to kind of be that go-getter. And,
Sure.
and again, it wasn't about the building as much as it was about the staff. And the staff in that, and as this day, I'm still very close with Carl Weeks, who was the club director, became our executive director later on in the years and has now retired. But Carl and Mike Johns and Mike Marabella and all the volunteer dads that were there at the time, really showed a way of what to give back and how to give back. So from 8 to 18, I was, going to the club, and,
Awesome.
I was Boy of the Month several times at that time, then it changed to Youth.
Congratulations.
I was Youth Boy of the Year in 1983.
Congratulations.
And I was fortunate enough this year to be inducted into the Alumni Hall of Fame
Wow.
for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Manatee County. And I say boy, and because Boys Club, because it didn't change till the early 90s to where
Right.
Boys and Girls Club. But
Right.
but we're proud of that. And I've been on the board in several different leadership positions, board positions, foundation board, and, anything, it's, again, I say, coaching, doing the Boys and Girls Club stuff, doing the high school volunteer stuff. It's about the money you raise and give back into those communities.
That's beautiful and very honorable in helping the youth, helping the kids, because they are our future.
Right. That's one thing I learned at a Boys and Girls Club conference is, even though the youth and the children of the world are only 25% of the population, they're 100% of our future. So
Yes.
it's giving kids every opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
And I believe in giving a kid a million chances to succeed. And then finally if they've been there, they got to take it.
I love that. It's
And
very
that's-
inspirational. Do you feel sports have impacted the world, the U.S., Florida, or even Manatee County? If so, how?
No, I think that sports gives, some kids that are, in the desperate need, those kids that need more opportunity, sports gives them that kind of out. And, some kids are going to have advantage because of the family dynamics and all of that. Other kids aren't. And sometimes sports will give those kids that need that little bit extra and that little incentive, because when you're in school, you have to have good grades, you have to be good, you have to do the right things.
Yeah.
And when you're in a situation in a neighborhood that maybe there's a lot of people pulling the wrong way,
Right.
sports might get you out of that.
Yeah.
And then how can you also then work into the sports part of it and help to become a better person, whether it's, you're a good athlete and you get that, or if not.
How can you grow as a person
Right.
and develop more into a better human being?
Right. It gives the opportunity to do that, and then you have those mentors that you might not have otherwise.
Sure. I wanted to ask you quickly about the project. I think it was, when we met last time, I think it was a $12 million project, the PAL League development for the Pittsburgh Pirates Stadium neighborhood area.
Well, we're calling it City Park.
City Park,
Which is
okay.
going to change
City Park.
the dynamics of, kind of around Lecom in the area. And one of the goals is baseball turned 100 years old this year
that's awesome.
in Bradenton.
Yeah.
And 100 years ago when baseball started, and it was done by the city council and that, to bring a major league team here for spring training.
Yes.
It was called City Park.
Yeah.
So looking back on the past and also celebrating that to bring it into the future, we thought, how can we energize that area year-round?
Sure.
And sports tourism is so big in Florida.
Yeah, it is.
And so if we can bring, not only when the Pittsburgh Pirates are here, if we can bring back a pride and sense of ownership in that neighborhood, to have sports tourism, have also a park that's going to be there year-round for the neighborhood
Yeah.
and the community,
Yes.
how we engage, how we get to that next step is so
Yes.
important.
Yes,
And
sir.
when you look at probably, by the time everything's done,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, the project there, just the baseball field, the lighting on both fields, so there'll be 3 fields there, is a very small fraction of the, I don't have an exact figure, but tens of millions of dollars we're going to spend in that corridor that will give opportunity for people to succeed and change maybe a neighborhood demographics to have an opportunity to say, hey, do I want to do something that might not be in the best for my life, or do I want to maybe have an opportunity to take that next step with a community center that will give you a positive impact?
Yes, Mr. Mayor Gene Brown, I think that's a wonderful outlet of wonderful, parking release break strategic move. And I hope it succeeds, and I'd be willing to help out with my expertise, whether it's life coaching or tennis coaching or healing or anything, just to help out and help out the community.
Well, and one of the things you want to do is you want to give back
Yeah,
what you have. And, some people, may have a better advantage at times, but we want to give all of our kids, no matter what demographic
Yeah.
or neighborhood you live in,
Yeah.
an opportunity to succeed.
that's
If
beautiful.
you don't have an opportunity to succeed, or people are pulling you in a way, and you don't see that light at the end of the tunnel, you don't have an opportunity to get better.
Sure. I would like to share a message of peace and light. What was wrong in the past can be reflected today, or rectified, today. Do you feel like society can develop further or change for the better in Manatee County, in Florida, or a nation as a whole?
I think everybody has a caring heart, And I mean, sometimes your political belief may be a little different than the person you're working with, but when you look inside, we all bleed red.
Yeah.
And if we work together to make things better, you have an opportunity to succeed. And you're going to hear me say that a lot because, I feel that if we can work as a community, and some of us can't help what our past is, because sometimes the past is the past. Right. You got to move on, but you've got to give people an opportunity to say, okay, what can we do to make today, tomorrow, and the next day even better?
Yes, that's motivational, inspirational, and much needed and necessary. That's fuel to get you guys going, to get everyone going. And help yourselves out, because you can. And all you have to do is being heard, basically. Do you think it would be positive or potential if potentially rural and urban communities, colonies, collaborating, working together in a global warming pinnacle of times now, as Greenland's melting, and the Earth is heating up fast? Each summer will get worse, and unless we, the people, change and help the Earth cool down involving climate change, do you think that would be a smart merge, the rural and the urban communities merging?
I think that as you grow, downtowns are different than as you go farther, but if you can make things a little bit better, travel time-wise, the things that you're doing, again, we do a very small time frame in what we're at. If you're around 75, 85, 95 years as an individual, anything you can do to make your surroundings and what you do better is important.
Sure.
Right. It's we've got a lot of great things going on in our city, so we're just working hard.
That's wonderful, and I'm glad to be hearing about them. Do you have a message for the world? If so, what would it be? Or a message for Manatee County as well?
Well, I think that people have to work together. You're going to have differences at times, but thinking about some of the things that not only with my city government hat on today, as well as my personal lifelong profession as a funeral director, that people don't realize that the things that we deal with, whether it's a 3-month-old baby that passed away or somebody that's having a sickness in their family of an elderly person.
Right.
I look at that, what we do every day is how you make the surroundings around you better and what you do to actually work through it.
Right.
And your life experiences are so important in what you think of today and tomorrow and how you make it better for that person.
Sure.
We can do things in the city that may not always be exactly what an individual likes, but you got to look at the whole picture.
Sure.
But if you've lost your 3-month-old baby, you can't change that. And so all we can do is help that person. But in our government, we can say, hey, here's some ideas, let's wordsmith through them, and let's try to make it better. And, it's not always going to please everybody, but we're going to try to work together and make it better.
Sure. How do you view or want to address United We Stand, unity, freedom across the city of Bradenton or in the nation?
Just as far as working together with people.
Yeah.
There's always different opportunities and different ways to work with people.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's the most important. I think sometimes people try to do different things in one corner or the other, and sometimes it's about just talking and working together.
I agree. Communication is the best way to collaborate on projects. How do you feel about BLM, Black Lives Matter, for instance? Do you care to elaborate? I think personally that all lives matter. And so I think it's important for all people.
Right. Well, again, it goes back to what I said about working together with individuals.
Yep.
We may have a little bit different political belief, but it's what you feel in your heart to help individuals in the moment you're in. And if you can help, make things better for that 3-year-old or that 53-year-old or 83-year-old, you've got to work with people. And I think that's been shown in, all of my political career as well as my life. There's individuals that sometimes try to gaslight things.
Sure.
And we're not about gaslighting. We're about, communication, working together, and taking that next step to what our city can be.
Wow.
And our community. I look, our city is our boundaries, but our community is what we all love and work for.
How do you feel about diversity and police and the streets? Is it possible potentially to join communities or have programs where they can help develop supporting more mankind's collaboration or cohabitation any type of an evolutionary development. For example, real quick, I know that they brought classical music. I think it was the musicians who came up with the idea,
Okay.
but they brought classical music into prisons for the prisoners to give them a peaceful experience, or maybe to have like an opportunity. I know they have prisons and reform programs, and also program like jobs where they, if they get out, they can go to a job corps or something like that and get job placement. But I guess what I'm thinking is where can they get like educated and disciplined? That's where I come in. I want to open up a program for that.
Okay.
But again, I'm sorry for talking.
Yeah,
My
no,
question to you again is, how do you feel about diversity and police in the streets? Is it possible for joining communities or develop programs where they can cohabitate better?
Well, I think, you look at what the city of Bradenton does and what our police department does. Community policing is very important. And, fortunately, unfortunately, which way you look at it, you have to have police.
Sure.
Because there is things that happen that they need to be involved in. But it also shows that what we've done in the city here is make sure it's important that they see that they're people too.
Yeah.
The police officers are people, and they're our neighbors, they're our friends, and they're here to help.
Yeah.
As well as take care of when a situation arises. But
Yeah.
it's important that they know that we are part of the community.
Yeah.
And a police officer is,
Yeah.
and when they're needed, they're there.
Sure.
But, we have worked very hard in the city of Bradenton to make sure people know their community is here, we're supportive, and we're going to be there when you need us. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but we're there. And again, I've said this already at one point, but, you give a million chances to somebody to succeed. And at some point, they have to take it themselves, but we're there to help.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Gene Brown, for your time, your kindness, and the ability to influence. Thank you for what you do, helping the city of Bradenton, helping Manatee County and beyond. Peace to you, sir, Mr. Commissioner, and to your team and Manatee County. Thank you again for your time and sitting down with me. It's been a real pleasure.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, sir.